Hello once again. In this video we're going to take a look at how we can actually connect a robot to our computer physically with cables that are needed and make connections in Robot C, and then actually run a program on our robot to see if everything is connected correctly. You can see that I'm using the GTT test bed here, and I have written a program in Robot C that uses the switches to activate certain motors in a certain sequence here. I use this primarily to test the test bed, be sure everything's working correctly and I'm getting the operation the way I need. But it makes a good example here for how we're going to go through the process of setting it up. So let's take a look at this. First, when you first begin here, you want to make your connections between the Cortex and your computer, and there's a specific order to do it in. I've already connected my USB cable to my computer, and you can see right here I've got the other end of the orange USB cable that I need to connect to the Cortex. So let's put that in place. Goes in the port right here. We've got that connected. And then the second step is to connect the battery. I've got my battery sitting in place and the connector for it is over here. When I install that, sometimes it's a little bit hard to get lined up. And then once you've got that in place, you can actually power up your Cortex and get that in place. So I've turned the switch on and made my physical connections. At this point, I want to come to Robot C. I've got my program open, of course, here. But under the robot menu, first of all, I want to choose the communication method. And generally, I can leave it on VexNet or USB, and it'll be fine. If I have problems, I can switch over to USB only, but I'm going to leave that as it is for now. And I also want to come down under platform type, and I want to be sure that I have selected natural language PLTW. If I haven't, I want to do it at this point. Alright, with those two things set in place, I should be in good shape to go here. So at this point, I'm going to choose Robot, and I'm going to compile and download my program. And Robot C is telling me that I've got a problem with my battery. So at this point, I'm going to say OK, and I need to go troubleshoot that. I'm going to close this debug window. Check my battery connection and be sure I have it turned all the way on. And that looks a little better. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but actually right here on the Cortex I'm seeing all green lights, which is what I want to see at this point. Alright, so that looks much better. So let's try it again. Robot menu, compile and download the program. And if the debug window comes up this way, it should be pretty good. I can choose Start. And you can see in my Robot C window with the green bar across there highlighting that first start motor command. The program is actually running. It's waiting for my input. And the first is to press the limit switch. My right motor comes on. My bump switch, left motor operates. My potentiometer, I'll turn that, and I have it set when it gets to a certain level. It should operate my claw, and I'll close that back down. And then my last is to cover up my line follower to make my right motor turn there for a short period. So this particular program is running. Everything operates correctly. I could actually cycle through those commands again once the program is in place on my robot, and it should run as long as I'm connected to the computer without any problem at all. And when I'm finished running that, I can choose stop. close my debug window. And if I needed to adjust any items in my code, I could do that and resave that. So whatever I needed to do, I could go about at that point, working with my program or working with my robot. When I'm finished running it, I want to be sure and power down my robot just to save my battery. And that's a short introduction to connecting a robot to your computer and running a program in Robot C. Hope it helps you. Check us out again for other information.